introduce Sean's gonna know Sean. You gotta like come in like right when it starts with a freestyle and then introduce.
What up, church family? What's good in the hood? What's poppin'?
It's the Mr. Siri cameo.
Oh, so yeah, we are.
I got it right.
All right, we're live.
We're live.
We're live.
Oh, we're live?
Hi,
Yeah, we're
guys.
live.
What up, church family? What's good in the hood? What's poppin'? I'm sure you heard that sick beat in the beginning.
It
We
reminds me
did.
of old times.
Let's run it back
Okay.
real quick.
I might cry if I die.
Everyone's gonna join us.
Well, I feel like nobody have seen that, so we're just referencing something that they absolutely didn't see.
Okay, so if you guys didn't understand, I was spitting some bars earlier.
You didn't see anything. You didn't see anything. You gotta be natural about it.
So this sign right here is totally real. Lights up, but you're just blind if you can't see it that it lights up.
Ding, bing.
Look at that.
Yeah.
It's on.
Anyways, Cafe Youth this weekend.
No,
That's my time. Okay, guys. Cafe Youth is this weekend. It's this Saturday from 6 o'clock to 9 o'clock.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yep.
High school age, come and join us.
Yep. Come,
Yes.
chill, relax. College
drink
too.
drinks.
Oh
Yeah,
my
if you're in
God.
college or high school,
Yeah.
come join us. Come see us.
Exactly.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, but
my
I-
turn.
People on screen.
My
There's an
turn.
Australian here. Don't know who he is.
Dude,
Have you ever seen an Australian?
Good eye.
Dude,
Like,
they're upside
we have a
down.
treat for you.
Have you ever wondered what an Australian
Oh,
looks
there you
like?
go. Okay, he's gone.
If you do,
We
just
can
look
go
at a
back.
person upside down. You'll understand.
Yeah, that's so true.
And Sean's gonna demonstrate for us right now.
Oh,
Do
see,
a
if
headstand.
you just do a handstand. No, I think Anna should demonstrate.
I'm not doing anything except for introducing our topic for this
Yeah.
week.
Wow, look at that
That's a
transition.
surprise.
That was a good
I'm like
transition.
a pro,
Props,
officially.
props.
Thank you.
You should be like a YouTuber
High
or
five.
something.
Oh no, influencer.
What do you influence? Exactly.
Alcohol.
Alcohol.
Instead of alcohol influencing her, I'm
influence.
gonna influence alcohol
Yeah.
to be a better person.
Yes.
Just
Can we get
say
an amen
no.
in the house?
Just say no more alcohol.
Say no to
to
drugs,
alcohol.
kids.
Yes.
That's so true.
Anyways,
And
our
that's on
topic,
air.
our topic for this week is a little different than other topics that we've done before. Because this week we're trying something new. We wanted something new, fun and fresh,
It's
not
funky
boring.
too, but not the bad funky.
Not the boring thing. We're a little quirky.
Like, we're a little
We're
different.
quirky.
We do
We're
listen to
hold on,
underground
hold on.
bands like Panic at the Disco.
We're not like other church kids.
Okay, Anna, can you explain what our topic is today?
Sure. Sure.
They weren't.
I'll start explaining what our topic
Have you ever
is
heard of
today.
Tame Impala?
Tame and who?
Tame Impala. They're like a really underground band.
Okay, can we talk about the topic? What's the
Underground,
topic?
underground, like our topic for today.
Yes,
Yeah.
topic.
So our topic for today, our structure for today is a debate structure.
Debate.
A debate.
Debate.
We are neg. They are af.
I don't have an
Can
afro.
you?
That's
Dude, I'm pretty sure this is like...
they are a what's it called? Like punishing
Vengeful.
venge.
okay.
for-
God.
Our topic is God's temperament. We are debating.
I thought it was
God
just like
is God is
Vengeful.
What is God is a vengeful
Vengeful.
God. There.
God is
God
love
is
and
love.
peace and
He
hippie.
said.
I'm sorry, that's my
World
BTS
peace.
influence.
Right.
Never done that before.
What did you do?
What
I'm
we do
sorry.
for this podcast.
I've
He
been
said-
playing. I've been playing.
Too much TikTok.
No, I've been playing Osu, but only Butter.
Oh, yeah.
Only Butter by BTS on Osu. It's a rhythm game.
Oh,
Yeah, it's
I love
epic.
rhythm games.
Yeah, Edgar destroys me at it.
Anyways, how does Edgar destroy? You're a drummer.
But Edgar's like a
but
gamer.
that's a whole different set of skills with a mouse
Yeah, you
instead
have
of.
to-
Excuses.
I hit
Excuses.
rims in
Right?
the service. Don't act like I'm going like this and not hitting rims. But
Anyways.
Listen, if you could beat Edgar, then you could come at Michael's life.
exactly.
Yeah, if you can beat Edgar, then you could come at Michael's life.
Oh no, I'm terrible at beat games. Anyways, going back to the
We
topic
thought
at
we wouldn't
hand.
have- we thought we wouldn't have enough to pad for time.
Our structure is like very touch and go right now, so it
Bear
might be
with
a
us,
little
please,
bit-
ladies
You can
and
blame
gentlemen.
Sean.
It's all Sean's
It's not all my fault.
Oh
I'm
yeah,
here.
Sean's fault.
wait, Sean's
I'm
leaving.
here for one more
That's so
podcast.
true. Sean.
This is Sean's
leaving.
last podcast.
This will
guys.
forever be the best podcast because I'm. This
Until he
is,
starts a podcast in California.
I'm not starting a podcast in California.
Yeah, you
Go,
are.
go, go,
It's
go,
That's
go.
like
gonna
a
be
lot of
He's
work.
starting
Sean's
Cafe Youth
influence
in
is
Let me
Ohio.
tell you guys, which camera am I looking at?
all of them.
Okay,
The front one.
so let me tell you
Okay,
guys.
just kidding. We're changing to this one then.
Let me tell you, starting a podcast and a whole Cafe Youth in California requires a lot of talking to people that are higher up, and I don't do well with that. So
What do you mean?
There's
That's
nothing
why you
happening
get
there.
somebody
You've
to do it
totally
for you.
bewitched Mr.
I'll just bring
Siri.
Mr. Siri with me. He'll be gone for a couple weeks, but
Couple
that's
months.
just a couple months, a
Years.
couple years.
And
A couple
Decades.
decades.
we're gonna miss.
We're gonna
miss Sean a lot.
We're gonna-
miss Sean.
Oh yeah, I'm moving.
So moving on to the
What would that
actual
count?
debate.
Oh,
If you want
I'm
to
moving
see.
to California. If
Did
that
you
wasn't
even say that
I
already?
don't think so. If I did, then welcome. I mean,
Welcome
I-
to California.
if I didn't say that before, I'm moving to California. I'm bringing everyone except for Michael, so
That's
you'll have
true.
him. Have fun learning about quarks and subatomic
Quarks are actually pretty
Quarks.
cool.
particles.
Quarks are pretty cool.
We're
can
not-
make up
We don't have
whole
enough time for you to nerd out. We have to start our topic. We have to start the topic. Okay,
Listen,
starting
he's
off
pretty-
the topic.
he's being
We're gonna have
quirky.
Mr. Siri.
being
We're gonna have Mr.
quirky.
Siri read
Quirky,
stuff.
like quirky, but quirky.
All right, our first
Oh,
question, or our first, I guess, task for this evening would be, what is God's, like, describe God's character?
Describe God's character.
Starting with ladies. Ladies first.
Okay, so
Go off, Sean.
Our obvious stance on this is God is vengeful.
Is it obvious?
Me.
I mean, we kind of just like buried that under like.
Oh yeah. Ooh, this is our stance for tonight.
God.
Yeah.
Tell him our stance for tonight, Faith.
we think. Yeah. Okay. That God is is just
Vengeful.
vengeful and very mean and
He wets your socks.
heartless.
No, he
Steals the
like
left
smites
one.
people.
It could explain why I'm not always missing a sock.
Yeah.
It's God.
He's
Oh.
like, oh, you did that one bad
That's
thing.
pretty strong
Sock
evidence.
taken
You
away.
sinned, so you
For every
get
sin,
one
you
song.
Dude,
lose one
I
sock.
bet that like up in heaven, God just probably has a pile of socks.
Oh, for sure.
But some of
Right
All the
next to his
socks
throne.
that he took it away from people.
I bet
He
they're
gives
like.
them to the angels when they're good.
Yeah. Yeah.
They
Why would
hang
you
him
want-
up.
Why would he want stinky
So
socks?
give us an example of why you feel that way.
With all the research you did.
Uh-huh.
Why is it that God will take your socks? I mean, wait, what? What was the question?
So here's the
My
thing.
God,
Whenever I was a
vengeful.
baby, I always had a one sock. It was because of God.
My
Wait,
one
wait.
foot was always gold.
So God is vengeful, right? Okay, yeah.
Yes.
Because we don't listen to him like we should, because he created us, he gave us everything that we needed, and then we still decide to be bad and sin. So he's like, well, I'm gonna be bad and make you suffer because of it.
Okay, well, here's the most easy thing. Here's the most generic thing. If God's all powerful, then why is there bad stuff in the world?
Mm-hmm.
He must be vengeful.
Well, you see.
Well, actually.
Oh, by the way,
We're not debating.
we're on the
Therefore,
side.
You gotta make.
We
your
are on the
stance.
side of why God is loving.
So true.
To go to the, what did you say before?
Which
You're
part?
supposed to describe God's
Yeah.
character.
Okay, God's character. He's a very loving person. He's like a parent to us. He is a parent to us. He'll always love us,
He's bald, just
Unconditional
like
loving.
Sean's dad.
just like
There
my
are bad
father.
parents out there.
But he's a.
But he's a
loving
good
parent.
parent. He's
He's a-
loving.
Or is he?
How would you know?
It's not the debate yet.
How would you know?
Please calm down. Please settle down. We're not supposed to get heated.
Start fighting by the end of it.
Read,
So you
read the
see-
script. You're a page ahead.
Actually,
gaslight.
God is not vengeful because he is actually loving. And
Yeah.
to go to your part thing about like why
We're
is
not
there
debating. We're stating our points.
Oh, sorry. If God was to not do anything about
We're not debating, so we're not rebuttaling their point.
Just what is God like?
God is loving and God is forgiving.
Yes.
Why else would he sacrifice his own life and go through one of the most excruciating deaths on the planet?
That was
Second
his son.
alive.
That wasn't that wasn't
Okay,
Well,
him.
his
but
son
the
is a part
Trinity
of
are
him.
like one.
But they're
So-
different people at the same
They
time.
would have to pay
But
him.
yeah, at the same
Let them
time as
speak.
being one.
Sorry,
Well,
sorry,
would
go,
he
go,
not
go,
have
go, go.
felt his son's pain watching him go
Sh-
through all this?
But anyways, his son died one of the most painful deaths on earth, and stayed dead, even though he like very much didn't have to, because we are stupid people and we make stupid decisions, and we should
Hey.
have to pay for these stupid decisions. But he's given
words.
us an
No,
out.
no words. We're just not very smart people.
We're not in Miss Fisher's classroom.
Yes.
So
We love you, Miss Fisher.
You believe that God doesn't steal people's left sock?
He steals their right sock.
Yes.
I'm just kidding.
Because it is
Because he's
the-
always right.
Because it is the
Vengeful
righteous
God,
thing to do.
vengeful.
Hey, stay on your
Yeah.
line. Stay on the
Sorry.
side of your line. You don't reach over.
Sorry.
We're segregated.
Yes.
I'm just kidding. It's a joke.
That's a joke. That doesn't exist.
Whatever.
We're not
Segregation does
racist.
not exist.
I mean,
Or sexist.
None of that exists here.
This
Safe
is a
space.
safe Yeah,
Jesus
safe space.
loves
Okay, let's get back on topic.
He's got the
Okay. Let's get back. What's the next question?
Next question.
God has a temper.
Who starts?
100% true.
Who's?
Let's go with the gentleman this time.
Okay.
Wow.
I would say that yes, God has a temper, but it's a very justified
Wait, sidebar.
temper.
Do you know what you're saying? Do you have any like facts to back it up? I'm gonna let you shoot, but I might shoot it down. Okay. That's sidebar.
I think we're gonna win this. I think they're saying they're gonna win, but I don't think that's true.
I don't think they've done enough research.
I don't think they did any research.
Okay.
I don't think they know.
Over now.
Okay, so yes, I think God is Nope.
Somebody didn't.
Well,
do
point
it.
proven.
Does God has
God
a
has a
temper?
temper.
Point
Yes.
proven.
I think God does have a temper, but it's a very justified temper. Sometimes parents get angry at us, but it's only to teach us a lesson.
So
And
true.
so God sometimes loses his temper, but that's only when somebody does something
Facts.
very bad, and he's very upset about it. So he's
So
like,
true.
"Hey, that can't happen." So I'm gonna get really mad right now, but it's okay because I still love you.
That's so
Okay,
facts. So
then
true.
why does he punish people who don't deserve it? Like little babies who die in the hospital.
This is also another question later on.
We don't go there.
So maybe you could just like state your comments.
God does have a temper. Yeah, he does.
What?
He do be having a temper. He even says himself that
he has a good
temper.
reason to have a temper because we all get on his nerves very muchly.
That's not what.
That's not
That's
your side.
their side.
That's not my side. Our side.
They didn't do research.
Unbelievably true.
We're trying to make God look bad.
I know.
That's a bad
So
idea.
I'm saying that he's justified.
If he really is vengeful, why are you trying to do that?
Because
God says he's jealous and he like proves it. Okay, I got a lot of points, but I wanted to save them. I
Go
wanted
for
to
it.
save
Lay 'em
my
all
We're
out.
pulling out all the stops right now.
temper,
Look at that.
temper,
Oh, wait,
temper,
no.
temper, temper. Actually, if it's with a different question, so I'll just.
So
keep
you
to
guys are
myself.
just gonna fold on this one.
Okay,
I'll
round
vote. Yeah,
two.
God has a temper.
It goes to the
God has a temper
guys.
for a good reason. Sure.
So you guys aren't just gonna you guys aren't gonna counterpoint at all. Like I had.
It's
a
not a
rebuttal
debate, we're
to,
just proving our
rebuttals,
points.
No,
Like,
God
making
has a
points.
temper, and
But
yeah,
like, is it
it's
bad?
Good reason. Good reason that he has a
But
temper.
is it like bad? Like is he like?
It's
vengeful?
not a bad
vengeful
thing
then?
that he has a temper, but
Is his temper
I
bad?
will say this.
What's his pet peeve? Biggest one.
Michael
Sin.
talking right now.
Right now.
He's like, I will say this.
We're gonna jump them.
Yeah. Later.
Okay.
In the parking lot.
Jesus loves you guys.
No,
Amen.
I had something I wanted to say. Okay, so like, if God has a temper,
It's almost like
bro, Sean.
Yes.
God. Okay. All right. Okay. If you said God is like God's like a parent to us, right?
Yeah.
And like parents lose their tempers. Like it's human to lose your temper. It's only human to lose your temper. But God should be above that, right?
Well,
Is
if
this
we were
true?
created in God's image, then technically,
But that has physical, not mental.
Okay, but then also whenever you're a parent, even though a lot of parents don't do this, you're not supposed to lose your temper at your kids. You're supposed to collect yourself.
That's called
away
abuse.
from your kids. Well, it's not abuse, but it's like not the best type of parenting. You're supposed to collect yourself away from your children. Like take a time to yourself, collect yourself, and then go to them calm and collected and teach them the right
Well-
way. So why does God not do that?
okay, do you lose your temper?
Obviously, but I'm human.
Okay.
Do you always
I'm
act
well,
on your temper?
Yes. Do you always act on your temper?
Sometimes, but I'm
If you're-
human. not
If you're
God.
if you're
So
parents,
if God really is so much better than you, and you only sometimes act on your temper, so shouldn't that say that God is in full control of his temper, and he can just be like, "That makes me that's frustrating, but I'm gonna let it go." Because doesn't it
So
also?
then-
What about the many times in the Bible where it talks about God being a forgiving and merciful God?
But what about all the times where he smites the people?
What about all the times where they ate, learned, and grew from that afterwards? and
But
it was
what
working
about
towards
all
a
the
greater
deaths?
good?
But what about all the deaths?
But what about the greater good?
But what about the deaths? If I died, do I care about the greater good? No, I'm dead.
Okay, but is it all about you?
Yes.
Yes, it's my
No, it's not,
life.
right?
If my life, if like,
you are a part of a bigger whole.
okay.
That's true. Is like the Bible written like specific? Does it say to Anna Rose?
Yeah.
My Bible has my name inscribed on
Let me
it.
tell you. Have you heard the
Same.
song? Have you heard the song? A Whole New World. You see,
I haven't. Will you sing it?
the song goes, A Whole New World. You see, in that verse alone, you know,
That's not a verse.
Shh, shh, shh.
We're not going to add a hypocrypha.
In
to
that
the
part
Bible.
alone.
This is hypocrypha.
In that,
What?
in that part alone.
Wait. What is the Hypocrypha?
Like traditionally hypocrypha was stuff that was like going to be added to the Bible, but like it was probably tampered with
Oh,
a lot
yeah,
by that
yeah,
Catholic
yeah.
Church. and, like,
Apocrypha.
that's apocrypha.
Apocrypha.
Tell Mr. A is saying it wrong.
Hypocrypha.
That's what he says.
No, he didn't. He said
Apocrypha.
Apocrypha.
Oh my.
Sorry.
just
That's
blind.
like that doesn't matter.
mean
It doesn't
deaf.
matter. Sorry.
I'm like.
So, anyways, in that part where it
hurting
says
my
A Whole New
feelings.
World, it's like a hole. We're like a hole. And
I
In
think
the
you-
world?
I think you
Yeah.
just picked a song with the word hole in it.
it just came to my mind,
You
bro.
could have. He got the whole.
Anyways, yeah, you see? We're all a part, but it's not all about you.
But it is.
Anyways, next question.
I
Since
apologize.
when?
It's always been
Okay, listen.
about you.
Okay,
No,
but
it's not. Do you do things only for yourself or to help others?
Yes.
what does Jesus call us to do though?
Yes.
You think he calls you to go make macaroni for yourself or for
Yes,
your family?
110%. That's why I don't starve to death.
You think you went, Faith, go do something nice for your family and make them macaroni? Or did he say, Faith, just think of
Oh.
yourself and make yourself macaroni?
I don't think
What
he
do you
said
think he's-
either.
I don't think he knew it. I don't think macaroni was a around at the time.
Oh, yes.
Okay,
They were
I
giving
think the
a
question.
lot.
Yeah,
Flatbread.
okay. Let's.
Okay, next question.
Next question.
Somebody's
So next
distracting us.
question?
I don't think we came to a conclusion.
Oh, wait, no, I know what the
This is a
conclusion
debate. You don't ever have a conclusion.
Basically, round
But we
one
didn't,
goes
like,
to the boys.
we went, like,
round two to the boys.
Started.
Boys 2, girls 0. How does it feel to lose?
First and foremost. What?
Alright, God
What?
gives choice, or God gives people choice.
That goes to the girls first now, right?
Yeah, girls
Yep.
first.
So
Girls
here's what
first.
I'm thinking.
That joke is so.
It's so funny.
It's so funny because every time you repeat a joke, it,
It
gets
makes it
funnier.
funnier.
Anyways, go ahead.
I don't think he does because he has our whole entire future, our whole entire.
World.
News.
Anyways, he has everything already planned out for us, right? That's in Jeremiah. For I know the plans I have for you. You know, says declares the Lord. Whatever. He already knows what's gonna happen. He already knows what's laid out. So no, we don't really have a choice.
So here's what I think, right?
Yeah.
He gave us free will,
Uh-huh.
and that's why we make mistakes and stuff. So what he sees is like a split timeline of events. You know, like you come across a choice that's like pretty monumental and stuff. He sees the different paths that it can take. So he's like, he knows what's gonna happen in each path, but he doesn't know what's gonna happen. You know? You feel me? You get what I mean? Oh, we don't say here. This is
Sorry.
a professional speech class.
Of course it is. That's why we've been talking about anything. I think that because
Because you picked your foot up and I could hear again. But no.
okay, I think
stepping
that he because he's a vengeful God, he gives us a choice, but he doesn't like let us follow through with it. Like like in the Bible, we see a bunch of is it me?
No, I don't know.
Yes.
I can't hear. I don't know. Go ahead. I can hear you well enough.
Okay. In the Bible,
There we go.
God
There you
gives
go.
like
I can hear.
listen to my point, it's really important.
I can hear now.
Okay, God gives us a choice, right? But multiple times in the Bible we see that whenever people choose wrong, he kills them. So then why can we have a choice until it's not
So
what he
it's
wanted?
Like a false sense of choice.
Yeah, like what like Noah's Ark. Let's go back to Genesis.
All the
In
way back.
Noah's
Ooh, we're
Ark.
going all the way back.
In like Noah's Ark, right? Like he gave Adam and Eve free choice. Like he gave all humans free choice. And during Noah's time, the people had free choice and they were choosing badly. And God saw his creation and he saw that it was no longer good because they were choosing so badly. So he decided to destroy them. So we have a choice until we choose too badly? Is that what it is? Same thing happened with Sodom and Gomorrah.
I mean, but okay. So he let them know up front as well that your choices are going to lead to death. And wasn't also in Sodom and Gomorrah and pre-flood era and all of that stuff, weren't they already kind of destroying themselves?
Yes, but why does God have... If God is going to give us free choice, then why does he also give himself the authority to speed up our choice? isn't that kind of intervening in our free choice and therefore not free anymore?
But are the choices of others restricting others' choices? So by eliminating that restriction, you're restoring more free will. Because I mean, if you think about it, if you take a baby and you sacrifice it, it has absolutely no choice. What is it going to do? Grow up and like that and fight you off and sacrifice you instead? No. So really, humans are one of the, especially during the time where it's portrayed as so immoral and, and I don't remember if it specifies as children sacrifices, but if it was bad enough to flood then, and there's children sacrifices going on now, I'm sure that was included. So weren't the humans the biggest proprietors of removing free will?
Sure, but what about the children who weren't sacrificed? They're growing up and choosing freely, albeit with influence, but that happens anywhere, right? You're influenced by the environment in which you grow up. So the children are growing up with free choice, and then they weren't because God killed them.
Did God plan to let those children grow up with free choice?
That's what I'm asking. If he planned for them to grow up with free choice, then why did he kill them off?
Could it have been possibly that the environment that they were in was so restrictive of that free choice that it was, how good does that do saving all of these children? And if God really is omniscient and doesn't have free will, so what's the point of waiting to kill them off? So are you faulting God for something that he also has? Are you faulting God for something that he's supposed to do?
But isn't that vengeful? Like, we're not saying, ooh, mic cut off. we're not saying that God isn't all-knowing or God didn't do this or that, but doesn't that make him vengeful? Oh, I made a creation and I gave them free choice, but since they didn't choose what I wanted, or because they're choosing so badly, I'm just going to write them off because I'm God and I don't like my creation anymore.
So who is the benefit of choosing? Who is to benefit for choosing the way God says to live?
The people.
The people. So if you choose to live God's way, then you live, right? So the people are to benefit.
Mm-hmm.
So what if we were to choose the other way? What if there was no consequences for choosing the other way? Because it also says in Romans, the penalty for sin is death.
Yeah, they'd be at the disbenefit. But isn't it vengeful for God to cut off their life before they reach their ultimate demise? Like, if we're given free choice, then why can't I choose what I want until I die?
Does anybody truly have free choice, though?
Exactly. And if we don't really have free choice, then is God even loving? Because free
Wait,
choice
wait,
is love.
No. It's not necessarily that. Do we have free choice because he didn't give us free choices? Do we have free choice because of the world we live in?
Oh, but then again, if that was the case, then we wouldn't have free choice in the world we live in now. Like I said before, everybody is subject to a bias from the environment in which they grow up, right? Everybody is, I guess, sort of indoctrinated by their parents, by their school, by their family, whatever. Like, it's inevitable in, like, society.
So I was saving this for the next question, but I was going to ask, so, we know the wages of sin is death, right? And that's, what you're saying is that's the result of choosing not what God wants for us.
Sure.
Correct? So I guess it would be kind of good to know what is sin?
Sin is deviation from God's love.
Would it be so fair to say it's separation from God?
Sure.
And who gave us that life in the first place?
God.
And who does it say oftentimes is the source of life?
God.
In the first place. So if you were to leave a source of life, what do you expect to happen elsewhere?
Sure.
Death?
Death,
Right?
sure.
Yeah.
But when we say God is the source of love, God is love, and because God is love, he gave us a choice, because only then can we experience true love. So then, if we have the choice, like, if I am using the choice of free will that God has given me so that I can experience true love, but I'm choosing the wrong thing, then shouldn't I just be allowed to choose the wrong thing for eternity? Because then it would leave access for other people to choose God for eternity, right? Like if you're giving free choice, shouldn't you allow the possibility that there will be people who choose evil for their whole life? That's why people are gonna.
God is basically
that's why-
bribing you into loving him. He's saying,
But it was
oh, well, sorry.
But you can.
He's basically saying, so I'll give you, blessings. I'll give you treasures, I'll give you salvation, but only if you love me and accept me.
So was that part of his plan before the fall of man? Was he only going to bless us as, oh no, they've fallen, I need to get them some reason to come back? Is that why he was going to bless us?
It was different.
Right. He made these beings that were immortal. He was there. He gave them control over this entire planet, and to look after, and to go start families and make this wonderful, beautiful planet that was their own.
Mm-hmm.
And blessings were being poured out upon them. They could walk and talk with him all the time, and all they had to do was not do one thing.
Mm-hmm, and they did it. But
they did it.
But then again, if God was really a teaching figure, I'm going to come back to my other point again after I do this point, because I had a really good point. But then again, if God was like actually good teacher and parent, like he's supposed to be our father, when is it okay to let your child, like to put your child in a position where they can ultimately be decepted, like be a victim of deception and then fall to their demise?
So you're saying free will is a bad thing?
No, not necessarily. I'm saying in the garden, because like God is supposed to be a wonderful parent, right? Like he's supposed to be a wonderful father, a wonderful parent, a wonderful figure that we can look upon we can look to for counseling and everything. But when Adam and Eve chose the fruit in the garden, he immediately threw them away. But if God is all powerful, then why could he not, once they ate the fruit, sit them down and say, you have eaten the fruit, you are now exposed to evil, I will teach you now how to blah, 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 blah. I will teach you now how to blah, 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 blah.
Well, so, okay, if we're looking at the perspective as God as a parent, that was a stutter there, but as God as a parent, and then we compare that to actual parenthood, if a child goes, and puts his hand on the stove, can the parent sit down the child and your burn's gone?
No.
So and the most powerful way to learn is when you have consequences for said actions, right? That's how discipline and such is instilled to children, is because there is consequences for going against what they have said.
But there's
Correct.
a difference between physically hurting and sinning. It's two completely different things.
Is there?
Yeah.
So
I would also like to raise the point that we say God is a father figure, but really he's our creator.
Yeah.
Right? He's our creator and he's all powerful, so why can he not, like a parent can't zap away their
God has the
confusion,
ability
but God
to.
can.
So if the parent zaps away, so let's say God zapped away and, oh, you ate the fruit that one time, I don't want you to die, so boom. So what's stopping them from going back and eating it again?
That's what I'm saying. Like,
So you're saying that God shouldn't give us consequences for disobeying him.
no. I'm saying in the events that happened, Adam and Eve were, like, he let them go into the situation without any prior knowledge or teachings. Like, he left them exposed. Like, if you ill prepare your child for a situation that will bring them danger, then doesn't that make you a bad parent? And then in that case, whenever Lucifer fell, he fell because he had too much pride in him and he didn't understand why he could not be like God. Why couldn't God teach him? Why can't God explain to him? Wouldn't that make it a little better?
What if God was trying to teach them and teach Lucifer as well, but they were just too reluctant to learn?
Then why doesn't it say that in the Bible?
So then why did God let Lucifer stay in heaven for as long as he did?
Well, then why?
Do you think God just kind of saw Lucifer falling and said,
Yeah, it's fine.
he'll come around. I'll give him a couple more days until he can open his eyes.
It might not say that like he tried to help them or anything, but I feel like it's implied that God would do anything to try to help his children, and that
Just as a parent would.
yeah.
But in the Bible, it talks about Lucifer. He lets this pride and this like sin grow within him, and then he affects the other angels. Like it starts infecting them, the other angels, with his persuasion. But why didn't God come to him and sit him down and explain?
Well, let's say you have like this delinquent child or something, and they're like going around influencing all these other kids. You sit them down, talk to them, and like you try to get them to stop and everything, and they pretend like they're listening to you and everything, but then they just go turn around and do the exact same thing that you told them not to.
That's why you should go to the source of
Well-
that delinquents or whatever. You would go to
Well,
that
if you
person that's
do-
causing it.
Who's going to say that they're going to stop, nonetheless?
But if God knows everything, shouldn't he know how to make Lucifer stop?
But wouldn't that infringe on his free will?
Maybe.
So God tries his best to try to help us. It's just that most people are too reluctant to actually change or listen to God, and he'll go against his word by making you stop with his own power and not giving you the choice, not giving you free will. So that's just like.
But doesn't it make him vengeful that whenever, like, not to say that.
Well,
Wait. Like, because in the situation that we have been given in the Bible, Lucifer was also ill prepared. Like, just like Adam and Eve in the Bible, he was ill prepared for these feelings that were, like, inflicted upon him. Like, he grew them in himself, but he was not taught beforehand that it is a possibility even. He was ill prepared. He was ill prepared to deal with the feelings that were inside him. So since God...
What makes you say he was ill prepared?
Well, whenever a child has, like, feelings that are, like, vengeful or that are, like feelings of sadness, feelings of anger, feelings of, like, sexuality, feelings of anything.
Anything
A
other
parent,
than happiness.
a parent usually beforehand is working with them like, oh, you might feel sad. Oh, you must feel sad. This is how we deal with this. Like, oh, you must feel this. This is how we deal with this. Why didn't God do that for Lucifer? And then in that case, after Lucifer succumbed to the feelings that he created inside himself without any outside help from God trying to deal with the feelings, once he succumbed to them and infected his brothers and sisters with them, God kicked him out of heaven. Instead of then remedying the situation, God kicked him out of heaven and the whole mess started. So doesn't that make God vengeful?
Well, I mean, you can also tell a child or someone, whoever, 1,000 times what to do in case of a situation. Like you could tell somebody 1,000 times, if you're ever feeling lonely, blah, blah, blah. If you ever feel like there's nobody around, nobody cares for you, you have all of this stuff. But when that feeling actually comes, what good does that really do?
But
That's-
it's the level of the punishment that was given. Lucifer was cast out of heaven, like, completely. Like, he was thrown to earth, right?
And are you saying that wasn't made clear that was what's going to happen? Because, I mean, when a ruler rules a kingdom and there's somebody who rebels against them in that kingdom, honestly, just kicking him out and even letting him live at all seemed pretty
Fair.
generous. I mean, albeit I guess I could say that I'm on a
Fair.
human scale, but at the
But on a
same
global
time,
Yeah.
I don't think God was just going to let Lucifer run rampant. And you guys, I feel like the argument, this whole argument, is hinging upon Lucifer having free will. So why didn't God do anything about it?
I guess
feel
the
like-
point I was trying to make is Lucifer, in his own free will, created feelings inside himself. That's on Lucifer. People make mistakes, or angels make mistakes, whatever. But then, on God's part, him as the creator, as the father figure, did nothing to aid Lucifer in whatever conflict he was having inside himself. And when Lucifer acted upon his sin, because that's what it is, when Lucifer acted upon his sin, he was cast out. That doesn't mean that and like God did nothing. Not on the off chance. Like I'm not trying to say anything about like the free will or the off chance or anything like that. Just in the situation that happened there, God did nothing.
How do you know?
Well, I don't know. I only know what the Bible tells me. But in the context that I know, God did nothing. So does that not make him vengeful?
Well,
You don't know that he did do anything.
But does every time a parent goes to console a child, or especially if a child is, feeling like they know better than the parent, or as Lucifer felt in that situation, does every time the parent go and they say something that is true and tested, that they have lived through, that they have found, they went through the same thing, yada, 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 does the child always say, that's a really good point, I need to get this under control? No, because the child thinks they know better than the parent.
Fair
I
enough.
think it all
I
comes
think,
back
yeah.
to like reluctancy on, like the reluctancy on change, on like changing and
I
whatnot,
think-
and like willing to learn from what God's telling you. And
Yeah,
whatnot.
absolutely. I understand that absolutely. And I think if God were to come and ask, I think the point I'm trying to make is Lucifer didn't get the chance to reject it because it never happened. That situation never happened where he was,
Reject what?
He never got the chance to reject God's counseling because God never came and counseled him. So that makes
How
God
do you know?
vengeful. But how do we know he did? That's
do we know
everything is
we didn't?
resting upon what
you
happened,
or
what
did you not?
didn't.
Well, we
like-
also know, but we might not know exactly what happened. But if we're going to say we're going to take everything the Bible says is truth, well, then we also have to accept the fact that we know God's character, and
Yeah,
God's
and
character
we also
is
know
love,
that
And
God-
God's character is
ultimate.
vengeance.
No,
God
I don't
literally
think
could
counsel is very
have
vengeful.
taken that situation so many different ways. He could have, as a punishment, said, okay, you're not my right hand man anymore. You're going to be just like every other angel. You're not going to have any power above the others like you already have. He could have taken that power away, but no, he just straight went to, you're kicked out of heaven. You're gone.
And it wasn't even the power in this. I feel like this is a situation. You're talking about. I know you brought up the delinquent and stuff going to the source, right? So this is like a thing where a child is acting out for attention in school. Parents find out, no phone, go to your room, no supper. What does that solve?
No.
That gets the child frustrated, angry, and with more reason to hate the parent. And with it being locked in its room, it'll want more attention.
But then, isn't that what God did with Lucifer? That's the situation, right? Oh, you did something wrong. You created sin. That's kind of wrong. Kicked out of heaven, locked in your room, no phone, and now Lucifer is vengeful.
Well, that's also assuming that God saw the pride bubbling within him and said, get out. I feel the difference in this situation is, because I feel, would I be wrong to say that for Lucifer to convince 1/3 of all of the angels in heaven, that would take some time, right? So, I feel like oftentimes we're missing that time frame in between. We don't know how long that
Yeah.
was,
Okay.
but 1/3 of the angels is a lot.
But God is all-knowing, right?
Yeah.
He's all-knowing. So he knew what Lucifer was doing, and he didn't go to him, and he didn't say, hey, I know what you're doing. I know that you're trying to get this army against me, whatever. He didn't pull him aside and be like, hey, what you're feeling, what you're doing.
Once again, I ask, how do you know?
Yeah.
How do you
That's the
not know?
problem. We don't know.
But we do know God's character as it is, like,
How do we know God's character given
Bible.
on what he said?
So, okay.
Then again, I would like to. I would
Bible.
like. Okay, then I would like to. I would like to make my point from previous thing before we got on this tangent. So, according to the Bible and Pastor Nick's past sermons, if you've been listening, God is love, and love is the choice. God is love, love is the choice. The choice to love or to not to love, like Shakespeare.
Shakespeare is not God.
You're right, Shakespeare sucks. Anyways,
You don't use that kind of language.
Shakespeare is
We're not
a...
in
No
Shakespeare's
bueno.
class.
No bueno.
Shakespeare sucks. Yeah, take that.
This is a good Minecraft Christian server. Shakespeare
What?
is no
Whenever he
good.
uses a straw.
What?
Shakespeare sucks whenever he uses a straw.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah, that's
That's-
true.
that's
so
Blah,
true,
blah,
Mr.
blah.
Sirius.
Back to my point.
Michael, you can't push anymore. You already played the
Oh,
drums.
sorry. Lucky. Let me just make this
Can't
point.
push anymore.
But,
I'm a rebellious teen who God's going to punish and strike down. apparently.
Yes. He's not
But,
going
like-
to come to you and try to help you. Nobody's going to try to help you. He's not going to
No,
try to
I'm
contact
gonna get
you
sent
through
to my
any
room.
person.
yeah, let me make my point.
I'm going to get
Seriously.
sent to my room. No,
You're going to send to your room.
You're going to be kicked out of the earth. Just go. Go right now.
Let Anna Rose talk, Sean.
When...
Anna Rose, talk.
Okay. Choice, okay? Choice is what everything relies upon, right? The choice to be without God is what fosters sin, and the choice to be with God is what saves you ultimately. but within the Bible, the choice is inconsistent. The option of like the God giving people the option of a choice is inconsistent within the Bible. Noah's Ark, Sodom and Gomorrah. If they chose to be without God, he smited them. And then that brings the point, well, like they needed to be smited because they were like too sinful. They might have affected people who God wanted to choose. So then why doesn't God do that now? I'm sure there are people who are just like the people in Sodom and Gomorrah and in Noah's day and age. They are way too evil and wicked and evil and wicked and evil and wicked. And God doesn't do anything now, so why then? Why is it okay then? What gives him the right then?
So,
Well,
did God give any kind of warning prior?
Yes.
Yeah.
But he's given a warning prior
It's like,
now.
think of it
How
as
much-
a deadline.
How much of a warning? Like,
Okay,
how long
well-
did it take to build the boat?
Yeah, exactly. They give them that long time. And think of it like a deadline for like a paper or something, right? Your teacher gives you this deadline and you have this amount of time to like make it up or do something, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you don't. And so
The end of
obviously
the
you're going to get
quarter
punished.
comes.
Obviously you're going to get punished.
Yes, but why in those specific instances did God see fit to intervene? Because without his intervention, they would have died off eventually anyways, would they not have? And without his warning, they would have been free in their choice. But he gave them a conditional warning. It was conditional because he was vengeful that his creation was deviating from the set path. And it might not have been a set path because they had free choice, but they chose wrong. And so God, being the vengeful God that he is, smited them.
Okay, well,
So I want to look at something again that I brought up in the last one, is time, right? So how much time did God give these people of the pre-flood or Sodom and Gomorrah, right? You look at that, and you can even just look at the generations up until Noah. There's people living like 1,000 years, and it's all just boom, boom, like that wasn't like 3 years. That was like 1,000 years plus, right?
But-
And so
sorry.
you saying for them to die off, we have 1,000 years of data that, if extrapolated, that has no proof whatsoever.
That's
for
But in
plenty
the
of
end, does it matter how long they were choosing the wrong choice? Because shouldn't free choice be unconditional? It should be eternal. You should have free choice from the moment that it was created till the end of time, because
Well,
that's what
so
free
then-
choice is. So why, in those specific instances, because every other time, God is like, free choice, run with
So
it.
under the-
Free choice, run with it. But in those specific instances, and he made it conditional with like a time limit. Why did he do that? Because he's vengeful. His
Okay, so
because
do-
he's vengeful.
do your
In his,
parents-
wait. Sorry. I'm not done yet, by the way. Nowadays, I'm guessing like in those specific instances, he saw that the entire population was
Literally
choosing the
with
wrong
Sodom.
thing. Yeah.
Literally with Sodom and Gomorrah.
Yeah. Like literally the entire population, and then within Sodom and Gomorrah, the entire population, they were choosing the wrong choice. But nowadays, like there are people who are like, man, like I'm choosing the wrong choice, but they're choosing the right choice. Blah 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 blah. It's mixed, so it makes sense why now God wouldn't smite the entire thing. Like he was not going to smite everybody now, but whenever his creation did what he didn't want it to, he didn't see fit. He saw that it wasn't good anymore. That's when he chose to smite it.
I want to bring up
Vengeful.
a point. I want to bring up a point that you made earlier.
Okay.
That environments affect your free choice or which way you're going to lean. They bring in that bias. So you look at Sodom and Gomorrah, where literally there were not 5 good people in the city, right? Out of the who knows how many, at least like 100, right? And it's probably like hundreds, because there's no way Abraham would bargain first with the whole city, because he knew the city was wicked, right? So we could assume, let's just say 1,000 and call his first bargain 10%, right? We say that, and what are the odds that a child is going to, be born, and they're going to choose God after hearing, basically nothing?
But according to the Bible, doesn't God's love rest on the off chance that there was? He would abandon everything else and foster that one child. Like in that city, there were good people. So
Where?
obviously, Lot and his family, they were the ones who were saved. Like there was less than 5 people, but there was still one. And in the Bible, if there is one, God saves it.
Weren't they not like residents of that city though? They were just
I don't know, man. I don't know, man. But like, if there was even like,
Yeah, they were like barely considered part of the city.
But they were still
okay,
considered
but
part
they
of
were
the
like
city.
they were in the vicinity, and so if they were in the vicinity, then doesn't that mean that there's like a really off chance that one of the children could extrapolate with them or whatever and
but-
become good?
but
And
if
in
we-
Noah's Ark, Noah, his family, they were good. So on that one off chance, if God is love, then shouldn't he have stuck with that one family? And in the midst of everything evil, he can make good.
But, you know, if we're also going to call God, you know, all-knowing and he can see the possible futures, you know, how come, you know, God, for the good of all mankind, didn't look and say, okay, there is very few futures where this comes out as good, right? And it would be for the benefit of everyone to get rid of this city. You know, you have I mean, there's the off chance that when you put a dirty dish in the sink and you leave it there for 3 weeks that you'll find the next penicillin, but you know, there's also the off chance that it's going to grow mold and stink and like ruin the dish basically.
So then why doesn't he do that now?
Make penicillin.
What? Strike people down because
No, why doesn't he like remedy the situation now? Why is he so absent now?
Anything.
It's
He's
really
vengeful,
absent.
that's why.
Well, I mean, I think it's just a question of what you consider absent.
Yeah, he's vengeful.
I think it's just a matter. Bear with
I think
us.
it's because things are.
You
as
close your
black-
eyes.
This is all real. No.
Open your eyes.
I'll just hold it up. I'll just hold it up.
It's magic.
We're still
Just
on
like
here.
that.
Voodoo!
Everyone's
Get
still
out.
on here.
Yeah.
So I think that just things aren't as black and white as they were back when, whatever.
I don't even
Because
think.
Way
there's
back
pride,
when.
and we have rainbows now.
Well, I don't even think it's a matter of black and white, but
Well,
I
I
think
mean,
it's.
Back then it was like Sodom and Gomorrah. Everybody was evil, and then there's just a few people that was good. Now it's just like some people have mixed emotions about things.
Yeah.
so
Well, and I
it's
mean, also if we're looking at stories in the Bible and stuff, I think there's so many factors that we need to consider before we just say God is absent, and then send on his attendance slip, send that to the office, right?
Oh no, that's like
But-
now God is absent.
Yeah,
God.
I think there's still so many things we need to look at before we call God absent. You know,
What if
we
there's,
look
like-
at
what
the
if this is
time.
one of those times
again.
where like it's like that
You and your time.
1,000 to like plus year gap between like he's giving people chances to, you know, fix things and and then, probably when we're all dead and stuff, God's gonna be coming back. He's like, yo, I gave you guys this time. Now it's time to check your grades. And if you didn't do good, then
But then doesn't that make it
But see,
conditional?
you don't have, exactly, you don't have choice in
I
that.
guess.
You don't have
Well,
choice
I was
in
just
that.
gonna say, well, for the God absent thing, I'm not gonna lie, I don't understand where we went with that. But for the God absent thing, I think first we have to look at the time again, and we look at all the stories in the Bible, and we say, why can't God do that? Why doesn't God part seas, or why doesn't He raise people from the dead? Blah blah blah.
Why didn't you go skydiving?
But you look at that, and that's like a post-flood. That's like a 4,000 time period, 2,000 time period. Like that's a long time for
Oh, sorry.
accountable number. You could probably count it on your fingers, toes. Maybe you'll need another person's fingers and toes too. But you can count that pretty easily for the number of stories that have happened. And do you think there's stories like Elisha and the axe head? Do you think once that happened within a year, everybody in the world was like, oh my gosh, that axe head floated to the top for seemingly no reason? No, and there was far less people back then, so these things happening, it was that was such a greater statistic. This is going to happen to one in every 100,000 people or whatever. But if it happens to one person now, that's 1 in 7-8 billion.
I think
That's
I think that's where the danger really lies, is that gray area that the Bible doesn't give us every single thing that happened in the biblical time period, obviously. There's so many missing gaps. So many, in fact, that you could develop an argument that God is a vengeful God. So how do we know?
How do you develop that
How
argument?
do we know?
How do we
Sorry.
develop that argument?
Because God, there's contradictory things. God killed people.
But I also too want to bring up on the vengeful thing, and the supposed free choice and no second chances. Can we talk about the children of Israel in the book of Judges? Like, talk about second chances. Like, we've been reading that in the Sabbath school that is here at the church in the youth room from 10 o'clock to 11 o'clock every Sabbath
Called
morning.
steep talk, but we don't actually drink tea.
Well, there is
you
tea.
can, but people
but
just don't
nobody
drink
drinks
it.
tea.
Because apparently tea is underrated for some reason. I don't understand that.
But anyways, like, the Israelites were like good for 40-year time periods, and then they ran away, and God was like, okay, you can have another person, and they kept doing that. And that wasn't until like the end of the book of Judges. That was like their whole career. We can't say God didn't give anybody chances when there's the Israelites who are like literally, if we're thinking about the entire Old Testament as like a time frame, they literally were like the whole time.
I think it's not like God is a vengeful God. Like, argument is not that he never does anything. It's that he has specific instances, specific little beating moments where he seems a little vengeful for some reason. Like, in those like moments, like, he gave Israel so many chances, right? So why can't Sodom and Gomorrah have a chance? Why can't Noah's people have a chance?
I think there's yeah. I mean,
why can't they have more chances?
I mean,
like, why did he give that conditional time period? Why did he make that situation?
We don't
there's
know
a-
all the answers to that, though.
I think that's a good place to wrap it up.
I don't think
We don't know.
I think that's a biased place to wrap it up.
Yeah, it's a little bit.
It is just a little bit, but
But
we were
okay,
supposed to end with God is
fine.
love. You guys.
God is love, and I.
So
okay.
I think, here's my conclusion, right? God is love. He might be vengeful at some point, but it's justified because he loves us and he's doing what he thinks is right. Isn't that what any parent would want to do, or almost any parent would want to do?
I think yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry,
So-
that was-
Next week we'll talk about what happened to the salinity of the water during the flood.
Whoa.
What?
I didn't understand what
seriously.
that meant.
Seriously, wait. This is a tangent, but we might be able to talk about it next week if, like, we talked to Pastor
2
Nick
weeks.
about it. But, like, during the flood, right?
Yes.
The water animals weren't on the ark. Why? Why weren't they on the ark?
because
they live in the water.
So why did
But
water dinosaurs are real?
no.
Still,
That's not the
today.
point. That's not the point.
That is the point.
The point is
the whole point of the
there
whole
are freshwater animals and there are seawater animals, but during the flood,
All water was water.
the seawater was probably, like, the salinity of the water is crucial in the life of the water animals, but during the flood the salt water was probably diluted because rain, and the seawater was mixed with the salt water, so salt.
Okay, well, how
what
long-
happened to the animals?
How long ago was that?
They're
What
still down
happened
there.
to the animals?
They
How long
mutated.
ago was that?
a long time ago.
Yeah, so it probably had time to like readjust itself, and
But, like, how did the animals
adapted.
survive through that?
God made the animals adapt.
Okay,
And
but
we'll
that
be
is-
talking about that next week.
That was
Hey guys,
wild.
so come to Cafe Youth. It's gonna be
Come to
epic.
Cafe Youth
Um,
this
For a
Saturday.
better landed
Saturday,
point.
21st, 2021.
And guess what we're doing
That was
there?
next year.
You won't know until you come. So that's incentive, I think.
Come with questions because it's on the spot.
Come
Oh,
with
that's-
questions.
Come with
'cause-
questions.
That's so
No,
true.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
also
no.
come with answers. Wink,
It's,
wink.
it's the thing that we always do
Right?
when we have nothing else to do.
And also,
We don't tell them
Also-
that. So
also-
we're super prepared.
come with answers too.
Thank you guys for watching. I hope you had fun, just as much fun as we did.
Yeah.
Come and continue the conversation.
Yeah.
Continue.
Yeah, in the comments.
In the
But don't
comments.
fight with people. Nobody
Yeah.
likes people who fight with people.
Don't
Share,
go
like,
hands.
and subscribe.
Listen, don't fight
We'll
with
see
people
you
unless
guys
you
in
know you're
2
gonna win.
weeks.
Say goodbye to Anna because she's.
I'm
leaving.
gonna be here still. You're not. Say goodbye to Sean.
Say goodbye.
He's
Bye,
moving to
Sean.
California to become a heathen.
I am better than
Bye.
all of you people.
Bye. Why are you still here?
Okay, this is the new Cafe Youth team.
All right.
Oh,
see
also
you.
wait. Also,
Well,
Trevor
you-
left. Also, Trevor left.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Trevor,
We didn't say anything about
he's in
Trevor.
SWAU.
He went to college.
We were going to give Trevor a proper send off while he was still here, but we delayed that podcast to this
Yeah.
week.
Oopsie daisy.
Because somebody wasn't here. It was Anna's fault.
You could have done it without me. Who chose to do it with me? Do you
Not-
guys are you guys just obsessed
That
with
was
me?
the
I think you're obsessed with
consensus.
me. You
That
might
was
be
just the
obsessed with
Okay,
me.
consensus.
guys.
of the group.
Anyways,
You miss Trevor too.
Miss you, Trevor.
Bye.
see you in
Lots
2
of love.
weeks.
Goodbye.
See you in 2 weeks.
Okay, now you gotta end it.
Yeah.